sister friend. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so thrilled that you're listening to today's brand new episode. I'm talking about why healing in community changes everything for you if you've been struggling with years of disordered eating and unhealthy behaviors, and why I personally wish I had had a community of women supporting me sooner. Stay tuned to this one, friend. Whether you have a community already, whether you are searching for a community, whether you feel like you'd rather be isolated versus be in community with other people, oh my gosh, do I feel that on all of the levels. Today's episode is going to touch you anyways. So listen in. Here we go. Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsey, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you. Because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess, trapped in a destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom, and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it. So you can start living your best life as your best self. Hey, beautiful girl. Welcome back to Her Best Self. Today we're talking about something that is so close to my heart. Something that I wish I had understood so much deeper during my own journey as I was recovering from my eating disorder. We're talking about community. And before your smile turns into a frown, because I feel like community nowadays gets a bad rap. I feel like we get so isolated in the disorder that when we hear the word community, we get a little put off. And we're just going to leave community alone. Community is a good thing. Community is healing. Community is healing without isolation. And it's not as hard as healing when you're in isolation, when you have people that are healing alongside you. And I got a message last week and it broke my heart, which is the reason why I'm recording today's show for you. And the woman said to me, Lindsey, I feel so alone. No one in my life understands what I'm going through right now. My husband isn't supportive. My family, I can't share that with them right now. I just feel like it would be something that I'm not ready to share. And I sit with my therapist once a week and my dietitian once a week. But other than that, I'm just so alone. I'm alone with these thoughts. I'm alone with these feelings. And so I knew that I had to take her question of, is everyone else feeling like this, and frame this up into a show episode for you. I want us to pause and remember that feeling alone, yes, it is that isolation that the disorder creates. But what I wanted to speak into your heart today, friend, is that the sense of being the only person in the world dealing with the struggle is not reality, and it's not true. And when you're isolated in the struggle, it feels like it is. The exhaustion of having to explain yourself constantly to people who, despite loving you, just don't get it, is there. The truth that I want to encourage you with today is that you weren't meant to heal in isolation. It's really hard to heal in the same environment in which you've gotten sick in. And if you've been isolated from people, then community isn't just a nice to have, it's essential for you. And so I'm about to get really vulnerable about my own journey. But essentially, this is why I created the podcast, was to be transparent, because I didn't have something like this when I went through my own journey. In my journey, it felt like I recovered mostly alone. While I'm passionate, so much so now, about creating spaces where women don't have to do it the way that I did. Not because it was wrong or because I couldn't recover by myself, but because here's what I wish I had known. It's possible by yourself. It definitely is, with trained professionals, with eating disorder therapists, with people that know the ins and the outs of the disorder, as well as what I believe is a new and on the rise thing, and that is recovery coaches that have actually had live experience. But it is so much sweeter when you're not white knuckling it all by yourself. The mind is powerful and it will take you out. It's important to have friends that have been right where you are and might be right where you are to help you heal. I'm going to share a little bit about my story, and then we're going to go into ways that I feel community backed by science is truly going to help you today. So listen in. Even if you're not looking for a community of women, I think this episode is going to help you in some way. When I was in recovery, my support team, it looked right on paper. Okay. I had a therapist, I had a dietitian, I had my medical doctor. I did go to occasional group meetings, but day to day, I felt completely alone. I felt like no one got me. I would sit in my therapist's office once a week and I would try to explain to her what it felt like to have an eating disorder voice in my head 24/7. And she would look at me with like 4 eyes. I would describe the panic I felt going to dinner with my boyfriend, or how exhausted it was trying to pretend that I was fine just because I checked the boxes on a meal plan. But when I was battling those thoughts about my food and my body every single day during this period, it was really hard because I felt like no one understood me. And don't get me wrong, my therapist was wonderful. I had to kiss a couple frogs to get to the one that worked. And that's fine. Everybody has their own experience. I probably had like 4 therapists before I found the one that worked for me. And she was such a support system. Don't get me wrong. But there's something about sitting across from someone who's never lived it, who's learned about it and is knowledgeable about it and has their credentials and has the textbook knowledge. But she, in fact, none of my therapists that I know of, at least it wasn't disclosed to me, not that they're able to do that, but it never felt that she got it to that level of extent. For me to feel like I wasn't alone, or that losing control around food, or looking in the mirror in shame and hating myself during days, like it didn't feel like she could comprehend that. And I remember going to those occasional group support meetings and feeling like I could finally breathe. Like I would leave and something felt different. Finally, I felt I had a couple of ladies that got it. And it wasn't even like I knew these people. It was just women that talked about the mental math that I was doing with food, or the exhaustion of living in their own head, and for this hour session, I didn't feel like such a failure. I didn't feel alone in the world. I felt somewhat normal, like, wow, other people are dealing with this. But then I would leave and it was right back to navigating the other 166 hours or however many hours of the week by myself. And I just remember thinking, I wish that I met more people that struggled with this. When my family would make comments about my eating, or for me, it wasn't understanding that they just felt concerned. It felt like judgment. It felt like finger pointing. It felt like Lindsey's failing. It felt like I was under attack. And I wished that I had a community when my friends would roll their eyes at my food choices, but they didn't really know the full struggle. They didn't know I was fighting for my literal life. And I don't know, I just wish that I had someone to text when the thoughts were loud and I couldn't sleep, or I was trying to deal with myself in my own way in my mind. But most of all, I really wished that I had women who could look at me in the eye and say, you know what? I've been there. I've been there. And you're going to be okay. And I didn't get that. What I didn't know then, but what research confirms now, is that people heal better when they know they're not alone. This isn't just feel-good advice. It's backed by science. Studies show that support groups helped reduce post-meal distress in young people with anorexia. Another study showed that support groups can reduce and prevent disordered eating. I just want you to think about this for a moment. Community doesn't just feel good. It actually reduces symptoms. That is what research is showing. And here's what happens when we try to recover by ourselves in isolation. The eating disorder's voice is often powered by a negative self-perception and low internal self-esteem. And so when you're isolated socially, you lack support and connection that will help protect you against the negative thoughts and the negative feelings, because you are only with your own thoughts and your own feelings. But here's the beautiful part. Recovery is largely influenced by your sense of connection to yourself and to others. When we are connected with other people who not only understand our journey, but who have lived it, or who have some empathy of what we are going through, powerful things can start happening. First, normalization. Okay, so when you hear another woman share about struggling with the same thoughts that you have, you realize that you're not crazy and you're not broken and you're just a human. And the research has shown that support groups, especially in the eating disorder space, they offer a safe place for individuals to start discussing these experiences. And they also have a proven decrease around isolation. The more places that you are with other people and other people that get you, the less you feel so isolated and the less you want to isolate. Okay, so it creates this normalization. Second, this accountability happens with grace. So there's something about knowing you'll see the same person or a couple of women every week that can create gentle accountability. I love this because with my one-on-one clients, I see this. It's like knowing they're going to see me week after week. Not only do they not want to disappoint themselves and they want to follow through with their goals, but they don't want to disappoint me because they're like, Lindsay's done this. I can do this. This is girl power session time. It's not this harsh accountability. It's a loving kind of accountability that says, I'm invested in your healing. I care about you as a human. And guess what? I'm not your family member, so I don't have to. I'm choosing to. And there's power in that. Third is shared wisdom. If you have any sort of relation with another human that is going through something or has already gone through something that you are going through, it gives you an opportunity to learn skills and wisdom and hear about what worked for them. Every single time I ask my clients, like, why me over someone else? They say, well, for one, I resonate with you on your podcast and I just want to figure out how I can work with you to help me. For two, you've had an eating disorder, so you can help point me in the right direction. And I know that I can impact from learning from you because I can learn from a person who has gone through this, and I can learn what tools worked for you, and maybe some will work for me and maybe some won't. And that's the power of just being in an environment with another person. I had this client and she was talking to me about how she handled a triggering situation last week. And when I'm able to get in there with her and go, okay, how is it that you wanted to handle this? Or instead of thinking that you were a failure at doing it this way, what could also be true, right? There's other ways. There's other different types of ways to look at this. Maybe it's just an experiment and we're building on things. So instead of it being failure, it's just feedback. What are we going to do next time when we're in that situation? And then lastly is hope. So when you're in a community of folks, or when you see women who might be a little bit further along in recovery, maybe they're living free, or you're listening to my show and you're going, wow, like she makes it look easy. Sis, I had years where it wasn't, okay? But you don't see that. You see the outcome. And so it creates this roadmap for you of what's actually possible for you. And what does that do? It lays this foundation in your heart, and you start to believe that freedom isn't just this thing that is like up in the cloud. It has happened for people. And so if it can happen for them, then why not you? 29 million Americans will experience an eating disorder at some point in their lifetime. Yet so many are out there trying to do it by themselves. And I was one of them. And so my question for you today is like, what would change if all of these Americans knew they weren't by themselves? What would change? And that's just in America. I know a lot of the listeners on my show are listening from all different countries around the world, and it is an honor that you're here. Like, what would change if we knew that we weren't alone when we were in the struggle? And so here's what I now know about community and recovery. It provides a language for your experience. What does that mean? Well, when you're struggling alone, you might think, I'm going crazy, or this doesn't make sense to me, or if I eat this, I'm going to gain so much weight, or what if I don't like my body? But in community, someone says, oh, that's just the eating disorder voice talking. And suddenly you're like, oh, now I know what this is. What's happening? This happens to you too? And so you feel that sense of togetherness. Community also provides a perspective. So when you're in your own mind and that mind is telling you that you're the worst person in the world for eating that cookie, and then your friend Jessica across the way that's going through the same things you are looks at you and says, no, you're not. You're allowed the cookie. You are allowed to nourish your body. The cookie is fuel for your body. That's recovery. And guess what? Shame loses its grip over your life in those kind of instances. Suddenly you feel proud for standing up for yourself. See, community provides accountability that feels a lot like love and not like judgment. And in our own brain, we can get really judgy, right? You might have your dietitian say, how did meal planning go this week? And that's great. They should be checking in on you. And I love that a dietitian is part of the treatment team. Like, I think that is well needed. I had a dietitian when I was going through. But sometimes that professional can not meaning to, like, it's totally well intended. It can feel like a judgment. But if you're in a group of women where she's also trying to increase her intake and working with somebody, and she is asking you, what are areas of opportunity that you've had this week where you can try a fear food, for example? It changes the dynamic. It doesn't feel like you're in trouble for not doing it. It feels like somebody cares for you. And that is where it ties in this proof concept that not only is it possible, but when you see women who are struggling with these exact same thoughts and they have nurture and caring spirits for the thoughts you're struggling with, and then you also see women who are now living free and vibrant lives, it stops being this, oh, well, maybe one day, like, theoretical idea, and it starts being real. But here's what's crucial. It needs to be the right kind of people. It needs to be the right kind of community. Eating disorders thrive in the dark. They allow someone to hide all of their behaviors. Think about those secrets that you feel. They grow stronger in the dark because more ideas and more obsessions. But the right community is going to bring things into light with compassion and not shame and not triggers and not like trying to one up each other. It needs to be also led by somebody who's been there. And that's where I come in. Somebody who understands not just this clinical side, but lived experience. Someone who knows what it's like to be terrified of a restaurant menu or to cancel plans because you can't handle the idea of choosing what you're going to have. And it needs to be consistent, not just when you're in crisis, but something that you can turn to in the beautiful, messy reality of living and healing. And that's why I created the Recovery Collective. I've been talking about it. I've been dripping it a little bit on the episodes lately because I keep meeting women who were exactly where I was, trying to figure it out by themselves, feeling like they're the only ones that are struggling. And I'm going, what do we need? We need to bring, no matter where somebody is, in locked arms with others. Now, I do believe that one-on-one is extremely important and it is imperative for the journey. And I believe working with a therapist and a dietitian and all the things is also important. But I believe a community is where you're going to share real stuff and you're going to experience healing together. And you're not going to be Googling, is this normal in recovery at 2 a.m.? You're not going to be wondering if that thought that you just had was an eating disorder thought or was it just your thought? Instead, you're going to have a community of people that understand. There can be a safe place for navigating triggers. There can be a place of celebration where wins happen, even the small wins. There can be a place of practical strategies for when difficult days are going to be around the corner and really hype girl energy, right? Where like we're reminded of the truths because the lies can get loud. I want you to think about this as a place of nurturing. It is a place that is going to help you actively live your recovery, not just survive it and go on with life, but live it. And if you're interested, I'm looking for founding members to help build this beautiful space, ladies. Founding members right now are going to get an incredible price. It is going to be $47 a month for founding members. This is as of September 2025. I'm keeping that rate through the month of October of 2025. And then after that, it is going to increase to $97 a month, but it's still super valuable. This is probably what you're spending on takeout in a week, right? I want you to think about it like this. If you are left to your own demise, will you do the hard thing? Will you? Or is the right setting for you going to be a setting of compassion, a setting of somebody who's been there and done that, a setting of somebody who wants to come alongside you and go, hey, sis, like you're not alone. If a community setting is not something that you're interested in, I still want to encourage you to go on out and fill out a client application to partner together with me. What makes this so special is that I pride myself on like walking your path. I know what it feels like to be trapped by thoughts. I know what it feels like to be exhausted and to put on the brave face and to battle your own mind and to survive another day. I know what it feels like to just try to go to sleep instead of eating. I know what it feels like. And so I want you to feel that you are seen and heard and respected. And quite frankly, I just want to meet you. I get to know you and see how I can help you through this path. So I hope today has shed some light on just the importance of a community. And I hope today has given you some love into your healing journey. What would change if you knew that you weren't alone, sis? That's the question I want to leave you with today. If you are looking to join the Recovery Collective, you can do so by going out to the website, herbestself.co/recovery collective. We cannot wait to welcome you in. Go out and do something you're scared to do this week, and I will see you on the next episode of the podcast. Bye for now. Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show, and I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.